report ranked Minnesota the second best state to live in all of the United States. So you might be just as surprised as I was when I found out that the population is actually declining. Now, some of the reasons people leave Minnesota may be obvious to you, but some of them I found quite surprising as someone who's lived here for 2 decades. So stick around and let's talk about this. But before I get too far into it, I'd just like to say if you find any of this content valuable, I would greatly appreciate a subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and smash that like button, and in return I will be responding to every single comment that you have below. So naturally, my first question was, where are all the Minnesotans moving to, right? I'm trying to understand why they're leaving. We got to understand where they're going. And so the main destination where Minnesotans are going is actually our border rival, our cheese-loving friends to the east, Wisconsin. Now, I do see the appeal. Wisconsin has slightly more favorable income tax and slightly lower housing prices, but I think personally, and I may be biased, that Wisconsin takes a massive step back in terms of having a metropolitan area where you can enjoy nightlife and things to do. I think Minneapolis also edges it out in terms of job opportunity and potential growth within your income market, as it was just ranked number 2 in terms of opportunity by World News. So you heard me allude to it before, and this personally was my biggest reason for possibly considering staying at least 6 months in a different market, is that Minnesota has the 6th highest income tax in all of the country. Our income tax range is 5.35% all the way up to 9.85%. Quick disclaimer though, the high tax is something that I've been able to live with because I know that that money's being put to good use. Minnesota has one of the top 5 educational systems for public and private education here. And on top of that, it's a very snowy, treacherous climate. So our roads are always being worked on to replace potholes, fix highways, and make traffic generally less congested. Minnesota also ranks top 5 in city parks and trails, as we have a ton crossing all over the Twin Cities metro, and we have state parks scattered all throughout Minnesota. The second reason why people are leaving Minnesota, and I didn't expect to be talking about it on the YouTube channel, but it's the political divide that exists between Minnesota. I would be lying if I said it's part of my day-to-day life, but I know that a lot of people experience the ups and downs, as Minneapolis is generally a very, very Democratic area, and basically every suburban or rural area surrounding Minneapolis city limits have predominantly a lot more red voters. So because of that, you've got this great divide of people outside of the city and people inside of the city. Reason number 3 why people are leaving Minneapolis is because we are seeing a relatively uncontrollable rise in crime. And again, that's specific to Minneapolis city limits. Obviously, when the entire George Floyd thing happened and there was a lot of riots that were drawing big crowds. I mean, people were coming into the state in droves to support these riots and these protests that caused a lot of areas like East Lake Street and Nicollet Ave to see a lot of businesses shut down, a lot of vandalism. It really took a toll on certain pockets of Minneapolis. So of course, naturally, people looking for a safe place to walk around with their dogs and family have either left Minnesota all in all or have moved to more space out in the suburbs. I will say there is a silver lining to this. Outside of Minneapolis, we've actually seen Minnesota-based police departments really get a hold on crime, again, outside of the city, more so in our rural areas. We've seen a lot of support behind the police department, and as someone who personally works with police, first responders, teachers, and I have pricing incentives to support those people, I can personally get behind that. So number 4 is really important to touch on because this one's kind of a misconception. A lot of people view the Midwest as a place that's like dirt cheap, where you have like farmlands and small houses and come settle down in the stable Midwest and buy some dirt. In reality, we're a pretty budget-friendly state. I think we've grown to kind of align with the national averages of cost of living and median home price. But for someone coming here thinking they're getting the steal of a lifetime buying the plains, Minnesota's not really that. If you want to live in the suburbs or the Twin Cities, it's definitely got more of a major metro feel, and parts can be a little more expensive. But like I said, nothing in comparison to like San Francisco, New York, Seattle, or anything like that. So reason number 5, we're going to drastically see people leaving Minnesota, and this one cuts close for the baby boomers. So If you didn't already know, the baby boomers make up 25% of the entire US population, which is crazy in and of itself. But the Midwest is not really thought of as a retirement state. And so as boomers move to retirement age, you'll see a lot of them leaving the Midwest so they don't have to deal with the snow, the ice, and the tricky driving conditions for warmer climates, which I think will really, really shake up the economic and population landscape here in Minnesota. And those are the top 5 reasons why people are moving out of Minnesota. In full transparency, I'd be lying if I said that on those cold winter nights, I didn't occasionally consider moving to a warmer climate and trying a new city on for size. But at the end of the day, there's so many reasons why I love Minnesota, including the great job market. It's a ton of fun. There's a ton of young people. It's a great place to raise a family and start a business. So I personally will never leave. And if I do, it'll only be for those really, really cold months in the winter because I'm a sun type of guy. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you have any of your own reasons why you don't like Minnesota, feel free to share them in the comments below, and I'd love to hear your input. That's going to do it for this one, and I'll see you guys on the next video.